Hello and welcome to Mindful Reflections, where I'm your host, Kimberly Jean, and I want to welcome you all to, this is the last episode of 2025, and I hope you all are doing well as we wind down or close out this year. On Monday, I was reflecting as I went walking, and it felt good to show up for myself, and I was like, what is it about like the push and pull when it comes to like showing up for ourselves? And it's crazy. And then in some instances it's amazing where we can show up for other people. And it's like, what is it about these old cycles and habits that we have? And oftentimes we hear like, hey, nothing changes if nothing changes, right? Or it's like, hey, something has to die in you in order for you to make that change. And I'm like, okay, what is the reframe to that? Like, how can I start to think differently when it comes to areas of change, areas of growth? And I started thinking like, what's inside me that needs to mature? Like, in what areas, to be able to evolve and to grow, and not to always kind of get rid of some things, because it's like a lot of us have been in survival mode, as I've been talking about, like the here and now and overcoming certain things. This episode is about maturity, but the kind that allows our survival mode, the things that we've used in the past to get to where we're going. How can those things about ourselves, how can they evolve instead of like ruining or running our lives? For me, this space of comfort and finding the easy way out with doing things. And I'm like, Kim, you've done hard things before. You know how to, show up and rally for other people. There's some elements of success that I've had, but I'm like, what is that thing that you know that you need to be doing, and to show up for yourself consistently, show up for yourself daily? What are those different things, that we need to grow into? Not everything about us is broken. Not everything about you is broken or is out of order or we have to get rid of it. One of the journals that I'm doing is talking about shadow work. And so how can I integrate my darkness and my light? Because what you used to help you survive to the place you are right now, that's what you had in order to learn how to cope. So it's not all bad. So how can I start to use this next version, these different habits that I have that have kept you safe? So now how can I transition those things in order to empower you to a different level of maturity, right? And as I'm saying this to you, I'm like saying it to myself. So today we're going to reflect on what needs to mature in us so that the next version of yourself can actually grow, can actually thrive, can actually experience the goodness that you know that is in you. And an element of like consistency. It feels good, y'all, to just be able to show up for yourself, right? And knowing that you're putting in the work, and over time we know that consistency pays off. So the first one, and this is something that I'm learning. So what is it that needs to mature in me? So coming into this next season, and it's not just about, hey, it's 2026 and this is my year and stuff like that. This is about becoming the person that you know that you want to be, the person that you know that you are. So maturity sounds like I can feel without acting out. I can feel things. I can learn how to process my emotions. This is about emotional responsibility, right? Learning to be able to regulate your emotions. Old habits thrive when our emotions run the show. Right now, I am in a journey, a weight loss journey to get back active, get back fit, and to be the most healthiest person that I can be with positive eating habits, right? And I noticed that old habits, they come up, they take control and they run and rule my emotions. And so growth happens when you stop outsourcing regulation. Can I, in order to be the best version of myself, I no longer can continue to go to food. I can no longer continue to numb my emotions, right? For some of us, we overthink, we overspend. We get in relationships that don't serve us. And so as we grow and mature, this will be that element in that area. How do I regulate my emotions? And what areas of my life do I either wait on somebody else or something else to regulate me? And then you have to do the double work to be okay, because you've outsourced it to somebody else. And then also too, you have to ask yourself, what feelings do you avoid sitting in? What feelings make you uncomfortable? What is it about consistency that over time you continue to move forward in things that you see progress in, but then you end up just giving up, you end up self-sabotaging? So moving into this next season, this next year for you, this next chapter, maturity looks like emotional regulation. And we all need help with that. I'm learning, and even in a therapeutic space, we don't learn how to regulate our emotions through the absence of not dealing with that thing. It's through the struggle, it's through the hardship, it's through the loneliness, it's through the anxiety and the depression that we learn to push through, learn to regulate our emotions in a better way. And so this will be the space. What you used to use before isn't going to sustain you in your next. And so, okay, what new ways in which I can have my needs met, have my emotions regulated, and it's not costing me, some areas of stagnation in my life or self-sabotage. Number 2, and this one is for me, maturity sounds like, what does your relationship look like with discomfort? What does it look like for you to scratch yourself? Last week we was talking about stagnation. And one of the things that we have to learn, or is learning, that discomfort doesn't mean danger. That just because I'm uncomfortable, just because I have to stay at something a little bit longer to see the result or to be able to sustain that result, that I don't get into panic mode. Oftentimes with survival, it confuses discomfort with threat. We know that any area of our lives that we want to evolve and grow in is on the other side of our comfort zone. And so what does your relationship with discomfort look like? In what ways, in before the old you, but now that you're evolving, would run to in order to feel some element of comfort? Growth happens when you learn that unease is often a doorway and not a warning sign. Like, oh my God, I'm so uncomfortable. Some things are natural. We feel it in our bodies. But perhaps if you were to, that thing that makes you uncomfortable, like, oh my God, I want to do that. I would love to do that. I've dreamt about it when I was a kid or a teenager, even now as an adult. What is that thing? It's how you see other people doing. You're like, oh wow, I wish I had the courage to do that. And so that element of like unease, like if I do that, then what? Or we're worried about what people would say or how you would look. We're in the here and now. What would that look like for you to develop a relationship with discomfort, right? What are some habits that keep you comfortable but small? You feel safe but you know that you're bored. Or you have security, but yet you're burnt out. Right? You have this element of creativity, but because you're not doing anything with it, you feel overly anxious. So what is your relationship with discomfort? And this would be the opportunity. What I'm learning also too is as I grow, as I evolve into the person that I want to be, like, how do I get curious? How do I get curious about discomfort? What is so difficult for you to show up for yourself in the areas where you know that would make your life different if you were to stay connected, stay consistent for the long haul? So what you are calling anxiety, that's actually growth. So that's a thought that you would have to think. Number 3, identity over attachment. What does maturity sound like? I am not who I had to become in order to survive. A lot of the times, and for all of us, how we grew up, right? Our childhood experiences has shaped us a lot. What we got or what we didn't get from our caregivers have shaped our attachment. And in therapy, we do a lot of work of like helping people find a secure attachment or develop a secure attachment, right? Who we had to be in order to survive will no longer be the person that I will have to remain in order to thrive or to become. Like, what does that look like that as you are outgrowing these survival instincts, survival mode? For some people, they have like hypervigilance, overthinking is one of them, minimizing or numbing your emotions, right? For some of us, we people pleasers. We say yes, super supportive. We become yes men, yes women. Those are survival techniques and strategies that we've had over time. But who are you becoming now? What does your identity look like now? Apart from work, apart the roles that you play, like, what does your identity look like? And oftentimes we are engaging with ourselves or engaging with our environment from this outdated identity. Those things no longer serve you. Those things no longer, instead of it being a comfort, it's a handicap. It's poison now. So being able to find your identity over what it is that you're attaching yourself to, and that's hard work to do. Oftentimes we want to rush that process, and I'm guilty of that. Oh, I just want to get over it. Why is it that this thing is something that is so hard for me to get past it? But there's an attachment that's there. Healing requires grieving who you were, the old version of you, being able to saying goodbye, like hello, and then also goodbye at the same time. I have to, that old version of me, in order for me to become and embrace this new version, this person who shows up and is diligent and is consistent, I got to say goodbye to those old habits or the way I identified or saw myself. Now I'm challenged to see myself differently. And so that would be my encouragement to you, that who you were in order to survive, you no longer are that person, because you're evolving and you're becoming somebody new. Coming in 2026, the next one, maturity sounds like having boundaries over guilt. Yeah, I know. One of the harder things is to create personal boundaries and being able to live up to that standard. At the end of the day, as adults, as we're growing and evolving, you don't need permission to protect your peace. A lot of us are just overworked. You're doing so much for others that you don't know what it looks like to prioritize time for yourself. So what would it look like to have boundaries over guilt? For some people, the hardest thing is learning to say no. One of the things that I had to learn when I was in a different type of or different level of leadership, I had to start to reframe and tell myself, Kim, you're not needed. Kim, you are not needed for that thing. And it was hard. It was hard to be like, oh, but what if da 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 da. Kim, learn to be able to let it go. When we are in survival mode, we over-explain, we overgive, and we overstay longer than we need to. And so this would be an area for you to cultivate what it looks like to start to have boundaries, and to also tell yourself that you have options, that you don't have to always be readily available. And that whole fear of like, oh my God, I don't want to disappoint other people. It's okay to say no. It's okay to set boundaries. And in that space, what this will teach you in having boundary growth says clarity, consistent, and self-trust. You are learning to show up for yourself differently. Right? And so who benefits when you're unclear? Do you? What does that look like for you to actually benefit from your own boundaries? And I'm going to close with this one. Number 5, maturity sounds like I trust myself enough to choose differently. As we move into this season of becoming, this is something that I'm learning. Like, I'm learning to trust myself again. So self-trust over self-protection. Survival mode, it hoards control, like always trying to control things in our environment. And I don't know about you all, in the relationships that I have, the deeper connections, reciprocity, we can give openly and freely, and I'm not afraid of somebody like using me or betraying me or stabbing me in the back or misusing me in any way. Growth is rooted in self-trust, and you would know what that looks like, hey, understanding, hey, who it is that I'm helping, why I'm helping, or what it is that you're giving yourself and time to. The belief that even if the idea that, oh, that would be hard to handle. What would change in your life if you did? If you changed, what else would change in your life? And so using that element of like, hey, you know what? I want to choose differently this time. I want to open myself up and to be curious, to lean into all the different gifts or the talents that you do have. The element of consistency and showing up for yourself day in and day out in the here and now, right? So this next version of you, he or she doesn't need new goals. It's like, oh, what goal? what is it that I need to strive in? What you need is maturity. This will be the space to prove to yourself, to create new patterns, right? To soften your defenses and your approach to things, and to lean into a different area of deeper trust. And you know what? Who it starts with? It starts with you. And slowing down and being able to, like, dang, I have what it takes to do what it is that I need to do. You didn't survive all that you survived in order to stay the same. And so the desire to lean into, like, dang, there's something more. That's it. That's where the energy is coming from, right? So growth doesn't always look like doing more. For some of you in this next season of your life, how can I do less and maximize with doing less? With some, I know what I need to do, and I need to keep at it. I need to build an element of tenacity and diligence to learn to become and stand in the light and the beauty of who you are. And as you move into this next season of your life, ask yourself, what is it that I'm ready to outgrow? What challenges are coming my way so that I can maximize and figure out my capacity, my element of potential. And this will not be by force, because a lot of us want to rush results, right? We want to get over the discomfort, the uncomfortable part of our journey of becoming. But this is what maturity looks like. It's subtle, But as you do it day by day, I mean, the benefits of just being consistent and showing up day by day is something that is beautiful. And so I am so excited to lean into this next season, this next journey. And if you are interested in joining Collective, this is a community of like-minded individuals who want to grow, who want to experience life to the fullest and to the element of like abundance and goodness that's out there. By any means, I would love for you to join. It's something that is new. We're getting started. And so thank you for listening to this week's Mindful Reflections. And once again, like I'll tell you, your healing journey is yours to own. And so looking forward to connecting a little bit more, and Happy New Year. Bye.